Perfect. Awesome. How are you today?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Fantastic. It's Friday, so
So good to be Friday.
lots to celebrate. So awesome. Well, I wanted to start a little bit by telling folks that may have not seen the videos that I've been doing for the past 2 months now, a little
hmm
bit of what I've been doing here. So essentially, when the pandemic hit and I was thinking of different ways to help out the community, having a big following here on Instagram, I thought of different ways that I could help the community. And one of them was to do these live videos with local business owners to allow them to, showcase their products, their services, their businesses, a little bit about themselves, in hopes that we get, customers, clients, students, whatever the situation
hmm
may be in their business to help them through the struggling community, through the struggling economy, I should say. And it's been something really amazing, learning a lot about our community. I'm originally not from here. I moved here 4 years ago, but really excited to see how people kind of get together and help each other, and are doing a lot of things to help in this unprecedented time that we're living, right? That nobody
hmm
has lived before. So
Right.
it's been really fun, and really excited to have you here tonight to tell us a little bit about yourself, and about your business as well. So with that, I wanted to ask you to kind of introduce who you are, where you're from, how'd you end up in Naples if you're not from here, and a little bit of your background, if you don't mind.
Well, my name's Jose Arias. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. That's where I was born, and me and my family moved over here to Naples in 2001. So I've been here ever since now. So it's been many years
Yeah.
that I've been around in this area. Um, I've been doing karate. I've been doing martial arts myself since I was 9 years old.
Okay.
So after we moved over here in '01, new school, brand new to the area. I didn't have that many friends. I wasn't super confident as a kid. So my parents, I used to do like baseball and soccer and stuff in Miami. So my parents are like, well, we should get him into a sport. We should get him to do something, interact with some kids, and get him moving around. So we're looking around, and we got one of those park flyers for the different like Collier County parks.
Yeah.
And we're looking through at the different programs, and they got karate. And my mom's like, "You want to try out karate?" I'm like, "Sure." And ever since then, I tried a couple classes and I loved it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Awesome. That's cool. So, obviously you said, what did you think at 9 years old? It's hard to maybe remember this, but what do you think that attracted you to karate? What was
Well, I mean, I think almost every kid, has some part of them that wants to be a little ninja or a Power Ranger or something, right? So I got to that first class. Everyone's wearing the uniform, and they're punching, they're kicking, they're doing a bunch of stuff, and yeah, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. You start going, and at first, everything's awkward.
yeah,
It's like teaching somebody to walk again. It's super weird. But after you start doing a little bit, you start getting the hang. You're like, hey man, this is kind of cool. I'm starting to get this a little bit. So, kind of from that, and you build a little bit of confidence, little bit by little bit as you start learning new things. And I was hooked. I loved
yeah.
it.
Before we get to the business, to your business, I wanted to ask you to, obviously, one of the things with martial arts, any kind of martial arts, that they mentioned for kids is, you're not only learning how to defend yourself, but there's also a discipline aspect of it as well, right?
hmm
My daughter is only 5, but I had her in capoeira
Oh,
here
very nice.
because I'm Brazilian, so I wanted to keep the Brazilian tradition, and then she learned how to count, and a lot of things in Portuguese too, so it was
hmm
cultural as well. But a lot of discipline too, and I wanted to ask you, for someone who started at 9 years old, and today being an instructor and owner of a dojo, um, uh,
hmm
what how important is the discipline, and how much have you learned from the martial arts as far as discipline goes?
I can say probably, besides self-defense, the two biggest things that I've learned throughout my years is discipline and patience, in spades. From getting a kid from 9 years old or 7 or even 15 or even a 20-year-old to just stand still, to listen, to follow directions. It is instilling discipline one move at a time. So I think it's great. I've had kids that start and, the moms or dad or whoever that drops them off, like, I want little Johnny or little Susie to learn discipline.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And it happens. It
Yeah.
does. You listen, you get told, if you have to get reprimanded or anything, but the discipline just kind of eventually just kind of falls in.
Yeah. I can only imagine. So a couple of years ago, I ventured out and was coaching youth football, and I was coaching 5-6-year-olds how to play football, and it was impossible to get them to line up in one line.
It's like herding cats to an extent,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. So I can only imagine. Obviously, I have a 6-year-old now and a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get them to line up either. So. But I wanted to start getting to talk a little bit about the business. How did that come up? Obviously, it was one of your passions because you've been doing it for so long. But what was the transition from kind of being a student and learning and being a teacher to then open your own business?
Mm-hmm. Well, so the business Minami Dojo Incorporated, that's the business that I am now the owner of. I did not create that business. I actually just recently this year took over it. I took over it from my instructor, Lynn Kurth. I've been with him since I was probably around like 9 or 10. I didn't start with him, but I transitioned over to him, and I've been with him ever since. So he started the business in 2007. Minami Dojo Incorporated became a thing in 2007. And throughout the years, he was the head of it. He was running it. He was my teacher. And, at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, he told me that he'd like to, take some time and step back. And if I'd like to take over and we could make something work. And so I did. I took over right around the end of March, the beginning of April. Of Minami Dojo, just of this year. So I'm fresh new into it. Man, let me tell you, I took over just enough time for everything to get shut down.
Yeah.
That was my celebration party. Everybody take a vacation.
Yeah. So and if you can kind of tell us a little bit about that transition from being. Were you helping him before? Were you teaching classes there before?
Yeah, so I started when I was 9. That's when I started taking classes, and I got my teaching certificate in 2011. So I've been teaching ever since 2011, and I've had a couple different little schools that it's under his banner, under his ownership, but I'm teaching the class there. So I've been doing that for several years now, and now it's turned over to where everything's under technically, quote unquote, my banner.
Yeah.
And I'm still teaching classes and still doing all that stuff. Now I'm just in charge of all the paperwork and all the back office part now as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, from the two different transitions from a student to then a teacher to an owner, what are some of the biggest differences that obviously now you mentioned as an owner, you have all the paperwork, you have obviously a lot more responsibility, but what changes from a student to a teacher to an owner?
I would say, one of the things you said, the responsibility is the biggest part, going from a student to where your only responsibility is to yourself, your practice, and being the best that you can, to be transitioning, becoming a teacher. Now your responsibility is not just keeping yourself up to standard, but now transferring and instilling the knowledge and the moves and everything that you've learned into your students. That becomes now your number one priority. How good are they doing? How can you help them? And now moving in from the teacher into the owner, now it goes from not just making sure I'm doing well, not just making sure my students are doing well, but making sure my instructors, the location, and everything is being prosperous and succeeding to the best of the abilities that I have to work with at that time.
Awesome. And so right now it's only karate that you offer?
We teach karate, we teach self-defense, we teach what is called kobudo, which is traditional Japanese weapons. That after you get to a certain level, you can start practicing that, and that's a lot of fun. You talk about having a kid wanting to be a ninja, you start giving them sticks and swords and stuff
Yeah.
that they can start playing. They love that. But so yeah, so the biggest thing we teach is karate, and the reason why I've stuck with the karate martial art since I was 9 is because I feel for a base standard discipline, it has the most things within it. You know, it's not like boxing where all we're doing is punching. You know, we teach people how to defend against being choked, somebody grabbing you. If someone punches, you learn how to kick, and you learn a really good mixture of a little bit of everything. So in case some bully comes up to you at school and he grabs you by the shirt, you kind of have an idea of how to get away from him. Or if some mugger comes up and he tries to grab your purse or he tries to take your wallet, you have a little bit better of an idea of how to move, how to avoid and defend yourself.
Yeah. And the age bracket for the people that you teach, I mean, you kind of mentioned young kids, but then, you know, do they go from anywhere between young kids to old?
About that.
Yeah, no worries. Did you hear my question or
no? Yeah, so generally we like to try and start kids around the age of 7. I've had some 5s and 6s start as well, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, but we try and do 7. At 7, they at least have a little bit more of an attention span. They have a little bit more than 2 seconds. They have a little bit better idea of left and right. So those kind of things. So we try and start around 7. And then I've got older teenagers, you know, 15, 16, 17. I've got young adults in their 20s. I've got, you know, full-grown adults in their 40s and 30s and beyond that. You know, so it really is. We try and keep our classes mixed. So you have some older kids, some younger kids. You know, we have an earlier class, which generally more of the younger kids go to so they can be in bed earlier. And then I have a later class where some of the older kids and some of the adults come. But it's very, you know, anybody can go to any class and you're still going to get your training out of it.
Awesome.
But we try and keep it mixed of all ages.
And in regards to someone that wants to start today that maybe, you know, is a little bit hesitant because they have never done martial arts before or, you know, don't really know what to expect. I mean, what would you know, what could they do to kind of prepare themselves or what can they expect, I guess?
Well, I would probably say for anybody that's trying to start martial arts or really trying to start anything, you know, one of the biggest things is just leave your ego at the door. You know, you're not going to start day one being great at anything. You know, let's think back to when we all started driving, how terrifying and how stressful that was for us and whoever was teaching us. Yeah. Right.
Or even walking, right? How many times we fell when we started learning how to walk?
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, you're a newborn gazelle and you're trying to get your legs under you. So, you know, anybody that's thinking about starting, you're never too old. You're never too old. You know, I've had people, oh, you know, I'm 20, I'm too old to start that, or I'm 50, I'm too old. You're never too old. Yeah. You know, if you can pay attention, you're never too young. Right? It's just having that passion, just trying something new. You know, I think it's one of martial arts in general. It's one of the best things you can do. You can learn how to play basketball. You can learn how to play football or soccer. And that is good teamwork, good confidence, coordination, and good exercise. But I think martial arts, it has all that, but then you can learn how to protect yourself, defend yourself, and in the worst case scenario ever, maybe, you know, save your life.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of move on a little bit. You kind of touched upon a little bit when you talked about when you took ownership, which was in March, and, you know, everything shut down essentially. So I wanted to talk about the current situation, like the COVID-19 situation that we're living. You know, what were some of the changes and some of the things that you had to make since we're living on this and up to today? I mean, what you know, what are those changes look like?
Yeah, definitely living in this COVID-19 world, every day is a little different, and we have to be really adaptive, and we have to be able to kind of roll with what's going on. Before COVID started, we generally have three locations throughout Naples. One in Immokalee City, one in at the Eagle Lakes Community Park over by Lely, and then one location at Pine Ridge and Livingston. So we have generally three locations running on, a few different nights of the week. When COVID-19 started, everything got shut down. So all my three locations got shut down in March, and we didn't start having classes again until June. So we've only got one location open right now, and it's our Pine Ridge and Livingston location, which is out of we sublease a space out of a place called My Gym, which is kind of like a kids fitness gymnastics place.
Mm-hmm.
So we're there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. So it's just making sure it's disinfecting. I get there first. It's disinfecting everything before anybody gets there. Everybody's required to wear a mask. You can wear gloves if you'd like. Everybody has to disinfect, hand sanitize and wash before they get in. We're trying to keep small classes, generally a student count of around 10. We're trying to stay around 10 or below. So smaller classes, we try and keep distance from each other. And then at the end of the night, everybody goes home, disinfect everything again. And then the next day, kind of repeat the process.
Yeah. And so for those months that you are closed between March and June, essentially it was a loss of business for you.
It definitely was a loss of business, something we were trying to do whenever possible. We were trying to send out through social media to the different groups that we have, a few training videos, kind of help motivate kids to, hey, even though we're not in the dojo, we're not in the school for X amount of time, that doesn't mean you're free not to practice. You still have your forms, your kata that you can work on. If you have a brother or sister or somebody at home, you can practice some of your partner work, and you can still get something out of it. We were trying to do these, what we called digital dojo episodes, of one of the instructors doing a little drill or doing a form and trying to interact with the kids as best as we could to keep them doing something.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, you kind of mentioned something that sparked my interest in a question. So, when you do martial arts, and I have to be honest that I never did. I mean, maybe when I was young back in Brazil, I think my mom tried to put me in. I lasted about a week and then I left. So,
yeah.
But when you do martial arts, obviously you go to practice, once,
Mm-hmm.
twice a week. Is there sort of homework where you do it at home too? You're supposed to be practicing at home as well?
Yeah, so we have, the way we structure our classes is we run 4-week sessions. So every new session, it lasts 4 weeks, and you get 2 classes a week. So you get 8 classes a month, effectively.
Yeah.
So you come in and you do your work at the dojo, right? That's when the sensei, the teacher, me, I can look at you, I can tell you, okay, we got to work on this. We can do some partner work, and it's helping to develop, do this instead, try this, you're doing good, those kind of things. But when you go home, that the practice doesn't stop. Even if we have class on Tuesday and it's Friday and we don't have class, that doesn't mean you get to just sit on the couch and play video games all day. At some point in time, you should get up. You should practice a little bit of your forms. You should practice some of your self-defense or whatever, you need to do, you should be practicing. So we try and send kids home with like a homework log. I practiced this for this long, and then we have their parent or guardian sign it for proof that they did it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I was, obviously I've played sports before. And when you play sports, you're if it's football, you're reading the playbook. If
Yep.
if it's different things that you're doing, right? Lifting weights, you're doing that kind of stuff where you're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But I always wonder about martial arts too. And obviously, my daughter, we had her at 5 years old. She was too young to come home and do
to really get it. Yeah, exactly.
I think the 2 days that she was doing was more than enough, so
Mm-hmm.
for her. So, Wanted to, and again, you mentioned a little bit about the locations, but if you can kind of walk us through exactly where the three locations are, hours of operation with the one that is open right now,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have any idea when you intend to open the other ones, and normally what are the hours of operations, all of that, including like website where people can get that
Mm-hmm.
info, social media handles, telephone numbers, all that stuff.
So in the two locations that we currently have that are not open, they are in the Collier County parks. So one is at the Eagle Lakes Community Park, and the other is at the Immokalee Community Center. So they're both run by the county of Collier County. They are so far closed kind of indefinitely for some of their indoor programs. And I've been back and forth with the people that are running those programs. Hey, when can we get back in? Give me an update. So every time they're like, hey, we want you back in, but you're gonna have to keep waiting. We're not ready yet.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a bit for those, I'm thinking, unfortunately. But as soon as I can get some information, I'll be letting everybody know and kind of throwing it out there for everybody to be able to see. The one location we have currently open, we've had this open now since like the beginning or middle of June, is out of a place called My Gym here in Naples, and it's right there on the corner of Pine Ridge and Livingston. It's in this little kids fitness place, and we have class there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday right now. We have an early class from 6 to 7, and then we have a late class on Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 7:30. I'm sorry, 7 to 8. So Tuesday and Thursday right now we got two classes, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and then on Wednesday we have one class, 6 to 7 for regular karate, and then we have our Kabuto, our weapons class from 7 to 7:30 on Wednesday.
And going back, I mean, you mentioned a couple of the different classes, and one of them that you mentioned was self-defense. Is it the self-defense like something specific, or is it, kind of like the Kabuto, when once you hit a certain level, you can kind of start doing that? Or like if I just want to do a self-defense class, I can go and just focus on that and not necessarily do karate?
So we incorporate the self-defense into our standard karate classes. Generally you have your different exercises, some of your forms, your partner work, and your self-defense. That kind of incorporates into a standard karate class that we teach. We also offer from some of our instructors, myself included, we will do private lessons with students, or we've done self-defense seminars with people where, we have a group of people and we're going over different, common things that, an attacker, somebody aggressive could try and do to you. And here's a couple standard things you could do to protect yourself. So a baseline of self-defense is taught throughout all of our classes. And then for further in-depth things, we kind of offer outside of the dojo, outside classes that we can do
So
as
it's
well.
like on demand.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get a lot of it in class, but if you want extra, or we've had women's self-defense classes that we've done in the past. We've had where people have wanted us to come out to their business and do a brief overview. What if somebody's it's late and someone's walking to their car and someone comes up to them? What are a few different things that they can do to try and keep safe, protect themselves? So we offer that kind of service as well.
Awesome. And that's something really interesting for businesses over here, right? To be able to offer their employees, and it's something basic, but something that could prevent something major too, right?
Oh yeah, it's basic, but it's necessary. It really is, because you never know at what point in time, maybe you have to work late. If you're in a bad area, or if you have a long walk to your car, you never know when, unfortunately, something bad could potentially happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as website, what is the website that people can get more info at?
We have our website is minamidojo.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram now at Minami Dojo Inc. on Facebook and Instagram as well. So we got a ton of information on the website, and we try and update with classes and videos and stuff on the social media pages as well.
Cool. Before I open up for you to kind of leave your closing messages here, we have talked about doing a giveaway, and I wanted to kind of allow you to mention what that giveaway is.
Yes. So we're gonna give away a free week of classes for anybody that can guess
When did
the
you start
when
doing
did I
karate?
start karate? That's right.
Yeah,
When did
and
I
then it's
start?
so three things, right? They have to answer. They can send me a message
Hmm.
here on my Instagram, suggesting when you started doing at what age you started
Hmm.
doing karate. That they're following both you and I here on Instagram as well. Well,
Correct.
not you and I, but the business, right?
The business and you is
And
correct,
myself,
exactly.
yeah. And
So
I'll
we're gonna be
check for
giving
that.
away, yeah. Uh-huh.
The first one to answer correctly and be following both of us, then I'll pass their information along to you so they can contact you.
Yes, yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Awesome, cool. Well, normally towards the end, what I like to do is kind of open the floor for my guests to leave a message to the current customers, students in your case, or future students, or just a message in general. So I kind of want to open the floor to you to see what you want to tell for people that are watching now and people that will be watching in the future.
Well, I guess what I would like to say to like any past and current students that I've had or Minami Dojo in general has ever had, we would never be where we are today without you guys. The students, the parents that bring their kids multiple times a week for months and years on end, none of this happens without you guys. Yeah, I would like to thank my instructor, Shihan Lin Kurth, who created this business and has been like a best friend, a brother, and a second father to me for many, many, many years. And moving forward, through this crazy COVID time and hopefully getting back into things, back more normal, we have to just do our best to be adaptive with every situation that we come and really make the best of it. And I think martial arts, karate is one of the best ways to learn to be adaptive and reactive and change to the best of your abilities to your circumstances around you.
And it's a pretty good time to get involved too, right? Because kids are kind of at home,
Hmm.
bored. There's not a lot going on, So this
Exactly.
is this.
If your kid was doing, or if your son or yourself, we're playing football or you're playing basketball, or you had a routine that you're used to. A lot of people have lost that routine, and we try our best to offer some of the most affordable classes that anybody can find around town. We offer no contracts. There's a lot of places that they'll make you sign up for a year, and if you yourself or your son or your daughter or whoever decide after a month or two, I really don't want to do this anymore, you're out of that money because you had to pay for that year.
Yeah.
We do session to session, and we pride ourselves in making a fun and informative environment to try and get people keep coming back, and we've had repeat customers for years, and kids that have started from, 6 or 7 years old, and they've gone all the way up to, 18, 19, 20, and they're still doing it. So it is a blessing to be able to watch and teach these kids and see them grow up and try your best to instill the knowledge you have to them.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was going to suggest, and it's also probably a good the way that you describe that you do kind of session by session is that
Hmm.
if you're not sure if you're not sure if your kid is going to like, or if you're going to try and you're not going to like, it's good to have that option to be able to go in, do one or two, and say, okay, well, maybe this is not for me. It's not really what I expected, but at least you try it out, right?
Hmm.
There's as opposed to firming a contract for a year, now you're stuck with something that you may not be
Oh,
happy with.
yeah, exactly. I've never understood that. How are you gonna get, basically married to something that you've never tried? You don't know if you're gonna enjoy it. But anybody is free to come to any of our locations. Stop by, ask us questions, watch a class. You can even you try out a class and see, hey, do you like this? Is this something you want to try? Is this something you're gonna enjoy? And for the vast majority of the people, you try it the one time and you get hooked. It's
Yeah.
fun. There's a lot of challenge and learning to it, and it really is a good time.
Awesome. Let me see, because I think I have a couple of questions here. Actually, I just want
Oh,
to
that'd be great.
make sure I answer them. Um, some people saying I love kung fu.
Kung Fu's great.
Yeah,
That's
and so,
awesome too.
yeah. So I think they're just in general saying that they like martial arts,
Hmm.
in general. So
Yeah, one really hands down one of the best things I could, you know, tell anybody to get into. If you can do one thing, if you can do martial arts, I think you're gonna be all right.
awesome. Well, I appreciate so much your time. It was really nice to get to know you a little bit
Hmm.
more, and also get to know your business a little bit more. I invite everybody, like you said, that you're considering or you're looking for something new for your kids or for yourself to stop by, or contact you, right, to talk to you and get a feeling if it's the right thing for them.
Hmm.
And,
Exactly.
and I appreciate all that you're doing for the community and helping us out here.
Well, Felipe, I really appreciate talking with you as well, man. I've seen a few of these videos that you've done, and I think this is so wonderful for these, local and small businesses. This can be so helpful for anybody to be able to do. So I really appreciate speaking with you.
Same here. All right, man. Take care. Have a good night.
All right, take it easy. Thank you so
All right.
much.
No problem.
All right, bye.
Bye.